Welcome back. I am so excited about bringing on my next guest. You guys have to all listen up. She's never been on the air before with me or on the air at all.
No.
And so she's a little nervous, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I have with me Kathleen Reeder. She is the owner of Kathleen Reeder Wildlife Photography. Wow, so neat. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you, Carol. Appreciate being able to be here. And yes, I am a little nervous, but I'll get over it. So for 35 years, I've worked in corporate America, very left brain focused on project management and corporate training. And it was over a lifetime that I've always enjoyed photography, but I had an aha moment in Wyoming a few years back that showed me that my reason for being was wildlife photography. And I'm now doing it full time and teaching and writing books and
How neat is
having
that?
so much fun.
When I saw you online, and I'm going to bring that a little closer to you, when I saw you online and I saw what you did, I just got so excited, and I was so happy that you said, yes, I would like to come on your show, because, I've never had anyone that just does what you do on my show. So this is perfect, we were talking before the break about a great hobby for somebody. It's a great way to escape. Who is your client? Who's your customer?
Sometimes it's young kids that their parents know that they have an interest in photography, and so they expose them to a workshop. And a lot of times, I would say 80% of the people that take my workshops are senior citizens who have retired or are close to retirement and have picked up a camera and want to start learning how to use it.
Sure. Now, what happened to you? You said it changed your life.
It did. I was in Grand Teton National Park in 2009, and I was on a landscape workshop, so taking the picturesque pictures of the Grand Teton Park. But I was mesmerized by the animals, the moose, the bear, the osprey, even the squirrels. It didn't really matter, and I realized that was my aha moment when my real passion was wildlife photography.
Now, you've also written a book, and I want to talk a little bit about it. This book is it's a learning book. It's a guide, in a sense.
Yes.
That helps people. You do classes, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I want to talk about the book. It's Capturing the Moment. It's the art and science of photography. How do you say that?
Photographing wild animals.
Okay? Anybody out there been thinking about photography and wild animals? Listen up here. This is really different. Talk about the book a little bit. It's award-winning. Go ahead.
Yes, it is really meant for anyone who needs a quick reference if they're just starting out. It's great for the novice photographer. It outlines the key composition tips and the camera settings for taking pictures of all kinds of animals, birds to bears, whatever you want to photograph. And it's small, it fits easily in your camera bag, and it's available both in written and ebook form, so you can take it with you on trips.
And we're going to be giving away 5 of them here, so we want to open up the audience to the lines of the audience so that they can call in and get entered in to win. We've got 5 people that are going to win, so I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show too for this. It's a book that can help you with photographing wildlife. And the number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Her website is Kathleen Reeder, and it's Kathleen, K-A-T-H-L-E-E-N. Reeder is REEDER.com. I gotta ask you, what is your favorite animal that you've ever photographed?
Well, I have an affinity towards cats, so I'm a big cat lover. So it's lions, it's cheetah, it's leopard,
wow.
Really any cats. And I've had close-up opportunities to photograph them in Africa and here in Arizona in the captive.
Well, the neat thing is that your classes happen here in Arizona. So
That's
it's not
right.
like you have to go. At first, when I was talking to you, I thought it was you go on a safari with you, but it's not.
And you can. But it's a great
That's
progression.
the next one. That's the next class.
Yeah. Yeah, I teach at Out of Africa Wildlife Park in Camp Verde in Arizona, at Wildlife World Zoo in Litchfield Park in Arizona, at Phoenix Zoo, and also at Arizona Sonora Desert Museum down in Tucson. And all of them have big cats as well as lots of other wildlife. Great opportunities for practicing. It's so important to practice. To be a wildlife photographer, you can't just go on that once-in-a-lifetime safari and think you're going to come home with those great pictures.
Right.
You've got to practice. And so these local parks and zoos, not only are you supporting them and helping educate our children on the importance of wildlife, but you're also enjoying them that are here, and every weekend, you know, if you're driving home on a Friday and you don't know what you're going to do this weekend, go to your local park or zoo and get some great photos of the wildlife there.
Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, the zoo, I know it's safe because they're behind, you know, they're in cages and things like this. Well, when you go to these places, it's safe to do it, right?
It is. You know, there's risk in anything that you do. When we're on safaris in Africa, we're in a safari vehicle, and as long as you stay within the perimeter of the lining of the vehicle, even though it's completely open, and lions are within 10 feet away from you, or a leopard's walking right by the vehicle, as long as you stay within the vehicle, the animal just sees you as part of the vehicle. You're just a big rhino.
Wow, this is neat. So we have our lines open here, and everyone's getting entered into win. We've got 5 of these books that we're giving away here. It's Capturing the Moment, the Art and Science of Photographing Wild Animals. How neat is that? It's award-winning, and it's a very educational. There are pictures in it. I saw a little bit of it. Do you want to talk a little bit about it at all more than we have before we go on to the next question?
Sure. I think the key is that when you get a camera, if you want to get off of auto or program, which is typically what we have our cameras set to if you haven't gone through any kind of training, it's often scary and kind of hard to get from taking auto pictures. Well, this lays out whatever kind of animal that you want to photograph. It lays out what those settings are. You know the old saying, give a fish to a man and feed him for a day? Well, I want you to feast. So I want to feed you a fish, give you the settings, and you can go from there. You can get creative from there, but to get the settings to start with.
How about, I mean, I'm looking at the birds, the hummingbird, and I just love that. I mean, so it's not just, you know, wild animals. I mean, but birds is a wild animal too.
Anything
and there's
in your
a lot
backyard.
of people, anything. It could be even a scorpion, right?
It could be
that's
a scorpion.
wildlife.
Yep. It is. You could use a macro lens and get very close.
So we're going to keep our line. Everybody's laughing. So we're going to keep our lines open here for the rest of the show, so everyone can call in. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know. What a wonderful hobby, something to get into. Again, our number here 602-277-5369. Toll free. It's 1-866-536-1100. It's Kathleen Reeder, REEDER.com. Check it out. This is really neat. Okay, but you also do classes. By the way, before we do that, I wanted to say that you can get this book at Amazon.com. You can get it on her website. But call in here and get it. Everyone's getting. We've got 5 of them we're giving away for free. So 602-277-5369. I want to talk a little bit about your workshops, because the book is almost like a little workshop in itself, right?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yep, so the workshops are held, some of them are one day only. All of them include an instructional online webinar so that you're prepared, so that when you get to the location, you're ready to start taking pictures. And then I'm there with you the entire time, guiding you with your camera. I don't even take pictures when we're there together. I'm focused on the participants. They're always small groups, no more than 10 people. And I usually get exclusive access to various animals and birds during the workshops, so that it gives you an opportunity to get some special photos that no one else can get.
It's really, really neat. And so with your workshops, I want to ask you, how many people are usually in them?
So the ones that are local, at the local parks and zoos, are usually on average about 10 people. On safari, I don't take more than 6, so that we can use safari vehicles, and I want to make sure that each person has their own row in a vehicle so that they can take photos to both sides of the vehicle.
Now, this was something that I wanted to ask you, which was who takes your classes?
A lot of the local ones, a lot of them are beginners, beginner and novice photographers, people that are interested in the hobby, that want to learn more. It's people who love wildlife. First and foremost, this is an experience. This is a connection with wildlife. This is seeing, watching their behavior, enjoying their behavior, entering their world.
You know what, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk further. I can't wait to get more into this. Again, our lines are open here. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Keep on calling, guys. Everyone's getting entered into win. We've got 5 of these books that we're giving away. If it's not you, maybe it's someone that you know that would love it. 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check her out at KathleenReeder.com. Welcome back. And we're talking with Kathleen Reeder, who is the owner of Kathleen Reeder Wildlife Photography. Awesome. I love what you do.
Thank you, Carol.
Really neat. And we have our lines where people are calling in, so there are people out there that like wildlife. And the thing is that wildlife is so much more than just, you know, lions, tigers, and bears, and thinking of safaris like I did. I never even gave it a thought, but the birds that we have here, the critters that we have here. Go ahead.
Coyotes, lots of raptors, owls, hawks.
Wow.
Hummingbirds. We have lots of hummingbirds that migrate through Arizona.
Well, we have our lines open here because, you know, you've written several books, but this one today is a book that's wonderful because it's, you know, it doesn't necessarily coincide with your workshops, though it would be wonderful to have
I
it
always
to do
suggest that
Right.
people get a copy of it before they come to a workshop because it helps prepare them.
The way I look at this book, and I'm looking at it, and there's some really neat photographs of what you photographed. I'm sure that these are yours.
Yes.
As well as you doing it, and I love that. I love some of those. And but what I wanted to say that this is like a little how-to in your own little way. It's your own little workshop in a little book here.
It absolutely is. It was an 18-month project. I felt like I was giving birth, but it was harder.
It's award-winning, and we've got everyone calling in. We've got 5 of the books that we're giving away here for free. You can get it at Amazon.com. You can get it on her own website, which is Kathleen Reeder, is spelled REEDER.com. But you can call in here, and if it's you or someone that you know, this is a wonderful thing to have, and get it for free. 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. I also want to talk about your classes. You do beginning classes as well.
Yes, the local classes have a lot of beginners. I would say at least 30 to 40% of the people who attend are beginners. And you know what? I say when you attend one of my workshops, you leave your ego at the door. If you're an advanced photographer and are attending one of my workshops for the access to the exclusive access that I have, because some of the places we get in, like at Out of Africa Wildlife Park, I have an arrangement with the owners where I'm the only one that gets to bring a group in at dawn, and the park doesn't open to the public until 9:30. So I have a lot of advanced photographers who take my workshops. But I say no one is better than the other. No one is more deserving of getting that great photo. Everyone is equal. So I make sure that everybody has an equal chance to get that fantastic photo and capture that image that's going to make their day.
Check her out. It's Kathleen Reeder, REEDER.com. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the workshop. Well, first of all, I want to ask you this. So, what types of cameras, you know, because I don't know, you know, as a Polaroid camera, you can't do that. So, what kind of cameras do you suggest?
Well, I use all Nikon gear, but it's very good equipment, but it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be Nikon, it doesn't have to be Canon. A cell phone is not really adequate, but there is so much.
You could drop it when you're running if God forbid something. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, just make sure the person that's running with you is slower than you. Yeah.
Or the animal is. Go ahead.
So it's really a camera that allows a zoom capability because they're not right in front of you. You do need to zoom in a little bit.
Obviously, that's a good point.
And the other key is that you can adjust camera settings. And the simpler the camera, the more the camera settings tend to get buried into the menus. So the more expensive the camera, the more the camera settings can be accessible right on the back of the camera or easily. And so you want to get something that you can change the settings comfortably. My best advice is if you're looking to upgrade or looking to buy your first good camera beyond a cell phone, is to go to your local camera store, talk with the staff, ask to see some of the cameras, hold them in your hand, take some pictures within the store, and then pick out a couple models that you seem to like and then rent them. And to get them, you can easily rent camera bodies and lenses. Take them out, take them into your backyard, take them to your local park or zoo or just pond, and take some photos and see what you think of the photos and see how it feels with the camera, and then make your selection. But I get people who have just bought their first camera attending my classes, and they leave knowing how to use them.
Well, that's important to know how to use it, especially when you're trying to, you know, take a picture of something that's moving a lot.
Yes, and there isn't a lot of time to know, so I do prepare people in advance before the workshop so that they are ready when the action happens.
So this is another really good question that I really like. You asked me to ask you if you need to be in good condition, physical condition when you attend a workshop. So do you have to be? I mean, it's like, I can understand if you're going to, Africa. You got to be in great condition in case you got to run fast, right?
Well, actually, you don't, because most of the time in Africa, you're in a safari vehicle.
Oh, so it's okay.
So you're being
That's
driven
fine.
around. Actually, it's at the local zoos where it's an all day of walking. So you need to be comfortable walking for a full day in the sun in Arizona. Sometimes it's the nice temperatures, but comfortable walking.
So that's a good point then. How long are the workshops?
They're usually, the local ones are one full day. I do an online webinar a couple of days before to prepare you, or an evening class before, and then it's all day. Sometimes it starts at dawn, sometimes at 7, 8 in the morning, and
Wow.
it goes till 4 in the afternoon, and then we're walking all day. And so you need to be comfortable carrying your camera gear in a backpack on your back. So,
Talk about hands-on,
Yes, very hands-on,
Mhm.
very in the field. You end up taking about 1,000 pictures in a day, and you get all that practice. You can go back and look at your camera settings to confirm, okay, how did I get that picture? And then you've got the history, the information to help you next time.
Now, again, we've got our lines open here because she's giving away 5 of her books. This particular book, she's written more than one, but this one is just a great book for everyone who might have some interest, or if you're thinking about doing a hobby. Are you somebody out there who's retired who, just doesn't know what they want to do? This might be very, very interesting. I can't even me, and I'm so far from it, but I'd say that it interests me because I think about what am I going to do when I retire one day?
Well, and a lot of people have pets, cats and dogs at home, or the grandkids, and they want to know how to use their camera. And frankly, a lot of what you learn when you do wildlife photography is transferable to your pets and to children. Just think of anything that's moving fast.
Sure, absolutely. Again, the book is called Capturing the Moment, The Art and Science of Photographing Wild Animals, but it does obviously go to anything. I love the book. I love the way you've written
Thank
it.
you.
And I like it's got some great tips in here, obviously. As you can really learn a lot from it, some great pictures that she's taken. I love the birds. I love some of these animals. I'm not, of course, the tigers and all that kind of thing. But we've got our lines open here. 5 people are going to win. So give us a call, 602-277-5369. And toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. The birds have got to be some of the hardest, especially the hummingbird.
The hummingbird, yes, there are some challenges, but there are techniques that I teach that make it possible. I'm teaching a class in Sedona in the summer when the hummingbirds are migrating through. There are techniques to actually get fantastic hummingbird photos, some of them with flash and some of them in natural light, but there are ways to do it.
Okay, so what advice do you have for those of us who want to improve our photos? And we're not talking about selfies here.
Yeah, not cell phones.
No.
So primarily it's practicing, but it's also getting some help, some guidance. I mean, I think this book really would help, especially the person who's just starting out, as a good reference. And then practice. You got to get your camera out. You got to take pictures. You got to take a lot of pictures. And then there are a lot of workshops available on the market, and pick one, pick more than one. Sometimes college classes can help too. Most of the people I know that are working people or retired don't want a long class. They want to jump in, learn a whole bunch, and then jump out. And so the weekend workshops really are ideal for that kind of person. But primarily practice.
Right.
Just enjoying it.
Now, when somebody takes your class, I'm sure they end up going further with you because, first of all, they sound like they're a ton of fun and so interesting as well.
It's all about the experience. It's about enjoying wild animals and feeling like you're part of their world and appreciating the beauty of nature and capturing that. When you're looking through the viewfinder of a camera and you're focused on an animal, you almost don't see anything else. You eliminate all the other distractions in the world, and so it's as much about the experience as it is about improving your photography skills.
What do we call that? When you first came on, before we came on, you were telling me how, you know, it's so, it takes you away. You're escaping, actually.
Yes, it's a distraction from all the stress that's, you know, I was driving over here to be on your show, Carol, and the traffic was terrible, and I thought, boy, do I appreciate being a wildlife photographer and having moments when there's no sound and all you're hearing is the animal or the bird flying by or the tweet of the hummingbird or the roar of the lion. It's all consuming. It touches your heart. It touches your being, your soul.
Her website is Kathleen, and that's Kathleen. Reader is REEDER. You can check her out there. We're going to keep our lines open here for everyone to get. We've got 5 of them we're giving away. It's capturing the moment and the art and science of photographing wild animals. And she said it best. There's so many different types out there, and it's not just lions, tigers, and bears. Call us here at 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100.